Off-season duties for my San Antonio Spurs, Carl Conyers, man. First and foremost, let's get back to De'Aaron Fox, who needs to be investigated. I looked up his contract again, Carl Conyers. He's 28 years old right now, Carl Conyers. 26, 27 season is going to get paid $51 million. 27, 28 season is going to get paid $55 million. 28, 29 season is going to get paid $59 million. And then 29, 20, 30 season going to get paid $63 million. Now, this may go down as one of the worst contracts. And this is kind of crazy because for a guy to get paid this much money at this age and looks like he's going to be on the decline is kind of crazy. I do want to give grace though. He did have that ankle sprain. He was still an all-star this year, but just seeing like clips of what he was when he first got to San Antonio or what he was when he was in in Sacramento till now was just like, damn, bro. Because even before he got his ankles hurt, I'm just like, bro, one, wake up, and two, like your play doesn't amount to what we paid you as well, too. So hopefully he can look himself in the mirror and kind of realize, like, hey, like there's a guy right behind me, number two, Dylan Harper, who for a rookie to play relatively well in the regular season and then up his level in the playoffs as he got more minutes, got more experience, got more reps in. I might get pressure from the front office to have this guy be a starter. I mean, if he's not going to be a starter, he may be like on some Manu Ginobili shit where he plays starter level minutes and he closes because that's really what's more important. But you got to think about that. So you got to get healthy. You got to get back to being the guy who he was and just see what he can kind of do. Because right now, bro, like Spurs fans are in an uproar, and people who love basketball, people who've watched and who've grown with De'Aaron Fox, see what he can do. Is just like, bro, like what we talking about? So like right now, bro, I am open to giving Dylan Harper that green light, and I am ready to trade De'Aaron Fox. But the thing is, his stock isn't as high. So I think it's going to be one of those things where he plays the beginning of the year, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we trade him as his stock rises, and we got some assets to kind of go along with that as well too. And I think a lot of teams would be looking for a piece like that because, like I said, he was injured. So I think some teams who have trouble in the draft or these smaller market teams will kind of bite at that as well too. And when it's all said and done, I mean, that's still a lot of money, but as the salary cap continues to kind of grow, maybe it won't look as bad as well too, especially in those first 2.5 years of his contract as well. Stephon Castle, that motherfucker Carl was looking like Russell Westbrook at times. He definitely needs to look himself in the mirror. He has more than enough tape to watch, and he has to really, a couple things for me, work on his playmaking. Really kind of sit down. Obviously, he kind of got tossed into the fire, and we have this three guard lineup where he kind of doesn't have to be a facilitator. But if we're looking long term, and if the ball's going to be in his hand and Dylan Harper's hand, and there's an alternative where Fox is gone, he has to definitely improve on that. Obviously, his jump shot can be something that always gets improved. So I'm working on my pull up jumpers and I'm working on my corner threes. And then he's already to me, a top 10 wing defender. Loki can be top five. You can argue as well too. And I love how strong he is, but I think he more so needs to study tape. It feels like he's playing off of instinct and not playing off of studying game footage and looking at tendencies and whatnot. He overly played or was overly aggressive on defense. And that kind of showed we needed him in those moments as well too. As far as Dylan Harper, man, I was shocked, bro. I did not think he was gonna be this great as a rookie. Um, I think when it's all said and done, as far as trajectory goes, if he stays with us or if he goes somewhere else, I see him being like a little hybrid of Cade Cunningham mixed with a little bit of Jalen Brunson. I think the sky's the ceiling for him. With him, I'm more so, like I said, redefining my jumper, kind of getting more into the mid range and working on my floaters because he's already one of the best low key at finishing in transition. It's actually kind of crazy. Like him in transition outside of OG chasing them down in this series, him in transition is like me watching Steph shoot an open three, like where you expect it to go in. So I'm happy with what I saw from him as far as Carter Bryant. Uh, he clearly looked like a true rookie. Definitely he has the defensive capabilities. So he just needs to lock in with that and really kind of develop him being a 3 and D. And like you said, with Victor Wembanyama, obviously we got to get a better backup big. That's the first thing. He can't be playing all these minutes. Obviously, this is his first year ever playing 100 plus games. But I think for him, he could put on a little bit more weight. I wouldn't do anything drastic like how they did with Anthony Davis, where it was just day and night over a season to the point where putting up that much weight is just going to result to further injuries. So I think it's going to be something where he kind of just does it through time, like kind of like how Giannis Antetokounmpo did. But really, you got the best power forward of all time, arguably, and Tim Duncan right down the street from you as well too. So whether you want to hit him up, like all the like he's talented, right? He has his skill sets in certain aspects. He worked out with Hakeem the Dream. He worked out with Jamal Crawford. Yes, we know you can do that and you continue to add to your bag, but like you told us in the audience, Carl, I was just like the difference between us winning and losing was we didn't have that go-to person when it mattered the most to stop the bleeding. And I think that's the next evolution of Victor Wembanyama. So he needs to either hit up Tim Duncan, hit up LaMarcus Aldridge, hit up Dirk Nowitzki, hit up KD, find your spot and operate out that spot. And I think that's going to serve us very, very well as well too, because he's 7'4". There were so many times where like we'd have a little pick and roll situation, pick and pop situation, more so with the pick and pop. He catches the ball at like the free throw line or like top of the key. He's 7'4". He can shoot over him, but he doesn't even think to shoot that and tries to dribble and create and do something else and turn the ball over. I'm just like, bro, you got a lot to learn, man. You got a lot to learn. And last but not least, I think we can, get a little bit more shooting. And it would be nice to get like an elite role playing forward, whether that's like an Aaron Gordon type to play alongside of him in case we don't get a backup center, or just get a bona fide sniper as well too. Because Julian Champagnie did what he had to do as a bench player, as a role player, not bench player, as a role player, but like he was getting picked on as well too when it mattered the most. So we got to tighten some things up, but like I said, we overachieved. I didn't think we were gonna, get this far, but in real time, when we started to watch game by game, series through series, I mean, there's a reason why you and I both picked the Spurs to win because of what we saw. But yeah, man, coaching, player development, and experiences ultimately kind of what led to our demise. But I don't, I don't, I don't think I think it was kind of crazy to kind of just crown Wemby as like the best player and go with these narratives and all this stuff as well too. But what I also learned, Carl, is just like to the basketball guys, you have to pay your basketball dues. Like when was the last time you seen a young core going to the playoffs right away and win a championship? That just doesn't happen. So it sucks that it happened on the biggest stage, but it's also a blessing that it happened on the biggest stage because you know what it takes to get there, and now you're gonna know what it takes to win. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. Is there anything you got to add to it, or I pretty much kind of, covered that?
I don't know if I would say it was a blessing. Just because I think it's just a wasted opportunity. The Knicks had never been to the finals before, and they didn't need to know. Like, I get what you're saying in terms of being a young team, but I think that taking a trip to the finals for granted is also a thing. Like, I wouldn't, yeah, I just wouldn't say it was a blessing. To be able to, it was a blessing to be able to make it, but not to like, oh, that's an example of something we learned from and we can come back stronger. It's like most teams don't make it back to the finals ever. I think that hopefully y'all will be good enough too, but you just never know. But I think yeah, you cover most of it. The Fox thing, I think I would say I don't think that you didn't give up a whole lot to get Fox, so I wouldn't be super pressed on trading him for like low value right now. If you were to get anything back for De'Aaron Fox, like your team is already good. If you were to be able to get anything back for De'Aaron Fox, while you're also wiping off 50 million or however much you know is going to be when you match those salaries off your salary cap, to me that's a
Yeah.
win. I think that holding on to him during the season could cause more issues. I think it would the best case scenario if y'all could go into next season with Harper and Castle as your starting backcourt without any questions asked. I think that would be best case scenario. I don't think that's going to probably happen though, but
Mm.
yeah. So I think it's just really getting off of Fox potentially and bringing in, like you said, people that just kind of like fit a little bit better. The bench is early playoff deep, but it's not necessarily like when we saw when we got to
Mm.
the finals, it
I
just
like
wasn't
that.
the same. There's a lot of guys that you guys couldn't play, and
I agree.
also, luckily, like Carter Bryant will be a year older, so that'll help. And um, the thing that baffles me, and this is again kind of I guess going back to the Mitch Johnson of it all, is
Uh-huh.
the refusal to go small. Like I get you guys normally have Wemby in there, so you're used to being the biggest team in the league, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to be, well, if Wemby's not in there, then Luke Cornett is in there. Like, no, you guys have other guys that can play a small ball five, especially when there are times in that game last night where the Knicks had to go to small ball because they didn't want Mitchell Robinson out there for any more of the time, and
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns was in foul trouble. So there were times where they didn't have one of those two bigs out there.
Yeah.
I just think that's something else, like just getting a little bit more depth that can really play because you saw even though a lot of those guys for the Knicks didn't play huge minutes, they
Yeah.
still were able to play a Clarkson. They were able to play Miles McBride. They were able to play like all these other guys off their bench. So, um, which crazy enough, that goes to Mike Brown because if it had still been Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't have no faith in any of those bench guys, and they wouldn't have played, and they all would have worn down before they even got there. So